The price tag for a college education continues to rise, with some private schools costing more than $50,000 a year now. When you factor in tuition and room and board, and with the school year coming to a close, it's time to start thinking about saving for college. It's important for us to be thinking about that when our kids are young. Joining us, Robert Stern, Program Director of the Minnesota College Savings Plan. Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Such an important conversation.
Yes.
And I think most people ask, when do you start saving?
Well, that's a great question. We always like to say it's never too early, and also in a way it's never too late. If you can get the plan started, our plan in Minnesota, you can start with $25. So if you do that and then just are consistent over time, it's amazing how fast it can build up.
What's a good rule of thumb? How much should you start with and how much should you put in every month?
Yeah, that's a really great question. The example I like to use is that, and this, I should preface this by saying this isn't what's right for everybody. You need to look at your circumstance and try to save whatever you can. But let's say you were to put $2,000 in every year at the beginning of the year, for the whole 18 years of your child's education. At the end of the line, if you had just a 6% return during that time, which is pretty reasonable, you'd have $67,000,
wow,
which would go a long way towards helping out. But again, everybody's budget's different. If you can just save something and be consistent about it, that's what counts.
To get a start, a head start, in a sense.
Absolutely, right.
Now, if you have a child who's a freshman in high school and you're looking at the cost of college education and you haven't put anything away, what can you do to at least soften the blow of the tuition cost?
Well, another great question. We always like to say every dollar that you save is $1 less you're going to have to borrow. So obviously, you'd like to start before high school, but if not, there's still no reason why you couldn't start and get something going. And you can even be saving, as they start school, you can still put money into a 529 plan like this. And also, what we often find is that parents, if they have more than one child, they will be good, let's say, about saving for one child, but then they have to catch up with the second or third.
Yeah,
so
yeah, we're kind of in that right
you,
now. So
you can relate.
A 7-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Right.
The 7-year-old's plan's doing okay. We got to get the 3-year-old started.
Yeah. One thing people don't always know is that you can change the beneficiaries around. You can move the plans around in terms of merging them, that kind of thing. So try to think of it all as one big pot that you can use. It's just that a lot of parents like to have separate accounts, especially for birthday gifts and that type of thing. So.
Now, what if your child gets a full ride scholarship and you've saved for 15 years? What happens to that money when they turn 18?
Well, good problem to have, and we do get that question a lot. There's several things you can do. The first thing you can do is change the beneficiary to the younger child. So once your 7-year-old gets the full ride, you can then change the beneficiary in that account to your 3-year-old, and then you can use the money that way. But if that doesn't work, you can change it to any blood relative. So it can be yourself, your spouse.
I was going to say to mom and dad for a vacation?
Well, yeah. Well, anything like that. Now, I will say that if for some reason none of that works, and you say, we really do need the money, then at the end of the line, you can take the money out, but it works almost like a retirement plan. If you had a non-qualified withdrawal from your IRA, there is a 10% penalty for doing that. The reason is the government does not want people stashing money in these plans and then saying, yeah, it's for college, and then 15 years down the road saying, well, gee, I'd really like to buy that boat, I've been looking at. So I will tell you, we get that question a lot. It's not as big a problem as you'd think. The problem is more on the other side. What do I do if I run out?
Yeah, because it just gets more and more expensive each year. Now, every state has a plan, a 529. So what do you do to shop around?
Yeah.
Is Minnesota's plan the best plan?
Well, we like to think that it's one of the very best. But we tell everybody to shop around. You want to compare fees. That's the most important thing. Our fees are very, very low. One thing I would caution you, if your viewers are going to an advisor, a financial advisor, like at an Ameriprise where I used to work, or an Edward Jones, they're all reputable companies, but many advisors will point their clients towards plans where they are getting commissions. So for example, the Virginia plan pays advisors a 6% commission, which is good for the advisor, but that's 6% less that you have to put into your plan. Here in Minnesota, we don't have an advisor component. The plan is all direct sold.
Okay.
So there is a good website called savingforcollege.com. And if you're viewers go on that, they can compare plans.
All right.
So, yeah.
Robert Stern, Program Director of the Minnesota College Savings Plan, thank you so much. You've given parents out there, and grandparents too, that maybe want to start something, a little bit of homework and something to think about tonight.
Thanks for having me. And I should also say for our plan, mnsaves.org is the place to go for all for anything they might want to do.
All right,
So,
good deal. Thank you so much, Mr. Stern, for coming in tonight.
My pleasure.